All right, here we go. We are live. I believe. Let me see. All right, here we go. We are live. Hello, everybody. Early. Oh my God. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. All right. So today we have a great topic, time management. And I'm going to go through like you're gonna get a glimpse into my mind today because we have our normal acronym like normal. And I'm going to talk about a couple other things that I do with my clients as we go through. So I might be flipping back and forth. You won't see it because it's in the back end, but if you see me like looking all around, you'll know. Anyway, all right. Thanks for hopping on. If you are here live, hashtag live. If you're here on the replay, hashtag replay. I wanted to pull it up on my phone real quick. Okay. And for those of you that catch this on the replay, or and for those of you, I'm trying to pull it up on my phone. For those of you that are watching it live or catch it on the replay, sorry. Let me do this again. So for those of you that are watching it live or catch it on the replay, you can sign up for it. It's elevateandengage.com. And then you get all of the reminders and the link and everything else if you wanted to jump on the back end on Zoom. All right. Here we go. All right. So today we are talking about time management. I am not going to do slides today for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it's short. I have an acronym as always, but it's pretty short and a lot of it is me flipping around. So I didn't think that that would be as productive. All right, let's hop in. It's 10 o'clock. Woo, woo, woo. Let's hop in. Before we end, if you drop creators, I will send you the productivity checklist for content creators. That's kind of fun. I have a couple other things that go with this, but that's the one that we'll talk about for the moment. But if you're into it, just DM me and I've got some other stuff too. Anyway, all right. So I don't even think I need to tell you why it's so important to have effective time management. We all know that we get so distracted as we're working along. We can go down those rabbit trails. There are a million and one different ways to tackle this. And I would say that one of the best or one of the most effective is accountability, one way or the other, whether it's you do yourself, you have a group, however you do it. If you follow me, you know that with my group, we just started again, the 12-week year. If you're interested in that, let me know. But I love that. I think it's really powerful. And one of the things I created like an entire tracking sheet for it that's in Excel. So we can go through and track those, but we also meet every Monday to go over how we're doing and where we're at. And, do we need help and what's holding us back? What are the obstacles? Blah, blah, blah. So we kind of get ideas from everybody else, who's the expert in time management? Probably not very many entrepreneurs because we're all a little bit excited about a lot of different things, right? So it's something that we should all pay a lot of attention to. I know it's one of the things that I pay a lot of attention to. It's one of my worst problems. And if that's you, awesome. This is for you. If that's not you, then maybe you can drop some tips down below for the rest of us. So the title is about content creators. And the reason it's about content creators is because I wanted you to know it's more geared towards how we are working our content creation. We're all content creators. If you're trying to put yourself out there, if you're building a personal brand, your thought leadership, any of that, you need to be putting out content. If you are like, oh, well, I'm just not, then more than likely, oh, how can I say this without being mean? But you need to be, right? You need to be. It's hard to compete if you're not putting yourself out there in a bunch of different ways. And it just doesn't mean social media, but maybe you're, a little bit more local and networking. That's putting yourself out there. You're building your brand one way or the other. And the more content you can put out there, the better off you are. Because what is the absolute first thing you do when you meet somebody? You either jump on Facebook, you jump on Instagram, you jump on YouTube, you jump on Google. Depends on what's your fancy. I jump on Google. I know a lot of my clients say that they jump on social first. So I like to see kind of where they are. But whatever it is, wherever you hang out is probably where you jump to first. And you want to see, where are they? What are they doing? Who are they? If they don't come up, then where are you at, right? You're like, oh, who are these people? I don't know. They're not even on here. So you want to be able to come up when people Google you, even if you get most of your clients networking, or if you get them through reputation. And I'll tell you, that is the number one way to get people, but it's also the least reliable way. If you want consistency in your business, absolutely 100%, you want people referring you. However, you can't gauge when somebody's going to be talking about that at the cocktail party. You need to have your own systems on top of that too. Sidetrack. See how we get sidetracked? That's it. All right, let's dive in. So the first one is T. Who can guess it? Drop it below. First one is T. It's task prioritization. This is probably one of the most important, one of the fastest, hardest. I don't know. Everybody has different things to say about this, but we've all heard of Eisenhower box, urgent versus important, how you delegate, how you delete, all of that, right? That is one of the things that you want to look at. So task prioritization is, in my opinion, one of the most important ways to tackle this. And one of the things that I do with my clients is I do, as distracted as my brain is, I do a bunch of different one of these, and I combine a couple of these into it. So the Eisenhower matrix, urgent and important, is one of the important ones, because if you can kind of delegate from that first, right? If you can go through that first, now you've got it kind of whittled down, right? Then I would say the next thing that I like to go through is the 80-20 rule. And if you've ever done the 80-20 rule, then you know that it's more about 80% of the outcomes come from 20% of the things that you do. The most effective people, what they do is 80-20, they're 80-20. If that makes any sense, it sounds crazy. So if 80% of your outcomes come from 20% of the things that you do, that means the other 80% of the things that you do are not creating the outcomes. Can you delegate them? You want to go back and forth between those so that you first look at your Eisenhower matrix and you figure out, okay, this is all the stuff. Then you go to the 80-20 rule. All right, let me look at that and say, how much of that really are the activities that are producing the most? In our industry, we're going to call them the money-making activities, right? So if you look at your day, out of an 8-hour day, how much of that day are you contributing to your money-making activities? My guess is 80% when it should, my guess is 20% when it should be 80%. So let's just say 10 hours for lack of trying to do math while you're live. Let's just say you work 10 hours a day, right? That means that 8 of those 10 hours should be on your money-making activities, which is more than likely outreach and content for most of you. Drop me down below if it's something different, but for most of you, it's outreach and content. And then the other 2 hours are on administrative type stuff, anything else. That's rough, right? How many of you are actually getting anywhere close to that? My guess is not many of you. I know I'm not, but that's where we want to be. So you want to start looking at what you're doing in terms of that. All right. And then you can kind of go back and forth and argue, right? Are meeting with your clients money-making activities? It's debatable, right? It's debatable because meeting with your clients isn't necessarily bringing you any extra money unless you are trying to get them to buy more. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't dedicate the time 100%. That is one of the most important things in your business, or probably the most important thing in your business, is servicing your clients. But my point is, you still need to figure out where that comes. And obviously, that's one of the first things you're going to map out in your calendar. All right. So just going back to, so you would go to your urgent and important stuff. Then you want to 80-20 it. Then you want to like go back and forth until you get that down to a science. And then you want to rank them. So now you've got these top 20, let's say, things that you need to get done. You want to rank them in order. What is the top one you want to get done? So I don't know if you remember this, but a lot of times they do like the A, B, C, D, right? So an A is going to be something that is in the top left quadrant, right? That you have to get done anyway. I'm probably saying this backwards, but just you're going to end up with an A, B, C, D, right? Of the A, then you want A1, A2, A3, A4. Why? Because you can't put 4 A's in there. You need to know which one is the priority because you may not get to all 4 and forget about your B's, right? So that's why once you figure out what the priorities are, then you need to rank them. All right. That's pretty much how I go through that time management part. Hold on, pull up. That's the task prioritization. Like all of those things. And keep in mind that it sounds like it takes a lot of time, but once you kind of figure out your groove, a lot of those you're going to be doing over and over and over again, and then you'll know where they come out. But at the beginning of every, year, at the beginning of every quarter, month, what you need to kind of prioritize because we cannot get it all done. I don't know if you've ever been through one of my sessions where I go through the time, but if you actually put a time on how much time it takes you to do things and then map it all out and how many hours you want to work. I've done that before and I've come out with like hundreds of hours of work more than I have time to work. All right. It's powerful to go through that. All right. So the next one is implementing schedules. Here's my, my hard one. I can do that, the T, but the I is really hard. So number 1, setting up your content calendar, right? Figure out when you are going to, dedicate the time to create the content, but it doesn't stop there, right? You have to create it. You have to add the titles, the hooks, the description, caption, whatever it is. Hashtags, if you still do hashtags or want to do hashtags, the time to put it into the scheduler, the planner, and then the time to actually schedule it. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and you need to have time blocks for every single one of those. What else? Engagement. Even if you have it scheduled, you want to engage, 30 minutes if you can, 5 minutes if you have no time, but 15 minutes, whatever it is, 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after that post goes up, ideally, 30 minutes, ideally, right? However much you can do, but you need to block that time on your calendar. So you need to block all the time on your calendar to brainstorm it, plan it, create it, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to go through the whole list again, right? But all of that needs to be blocked into your schedule. I find a lot of times what I do, or what some of my clients also have done, is I'll block time for content. Well, there's like 189 different things you need to do for content. So number one, if I look at content, I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. That's time wasting, right? I want to know exactly what I'm doing during that time block. So you need to, when you time block, you want to be very, very specific as to what you're doing during that time block. And if you want to do time blocks for just content, that's okay, as long as somewhere else you have for your day what's going on during the content time block of that day. I hope that makes sense. That gets a little bit confusing, but planning it out minute by minute really is important. And the reason is, again, a lot of times we think we can get a ton of stuff done and we really can't. So trying to figure out how long it takes you to do things and, be realistic, like not how long you want it to take. How long does it really take you? Because I want my stuff to take me a lot less time than it does. I'm so slow. It's just a fact. I am so slow. And so, then you can go look at all of that stuff. And if you have, family members that are helping you, maybe you have adult kids that are helping you, maybe you have high school kids that are helping you, maybe you've got some VAs. Now you can look and see, okay, which one of these am I going to delegate to them? And can they help me get this done? But here has been one of my problems is you have to have all of this done ahead of time to be able to delegate. That's where it gets tricky and that's where it gets hard. And if you have, I've literally hired VAs and not been able to use them because I can't get my act together ahead of time. All right. You can't get it together ahead of time. So you don't want to be in that position. You want to be able to do all of this ahead of time so that it goes boom, bang, boom. And now they know where to pick up. Maybe it's on your Asana board. Maybe it's, they pull it from Asana, they plan it, and then they put it on your other content calendar. I've talked about that a lot, but anyway, however you want to do it, you want to be able to implement the schedule. And in order to do that, it has to be super clear. Everything needs to have a place. And if you just say content, you need to know which content, and it should have a priority of A1, A2, A3, that type of thing, right? All right. A lot of times you might just do batch time, like so batching your videos. I like to do that. But if you batch your videos one day and then don't schedule time to edit them, don't schedule time to distribute, blah, 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 then you'll end up with a bunch of videos on your computer that you never use. Speaking from experience, right? So TI, next one. If you know it, drop it down below. If you know it, drop it down below. The next one is M, minimizing distractions. This is a hard one for all of us. So there are apps that you can use to minimize these. Pomodoro, has anybody ever used Pomodoro? So I really like Pomodoro. It is 25 minutes work, 5 minutes off. If you think that's too little, then maybe, just set timers, but do, 50 minutes, 10 minutes off, or, 5 minutes before, 50 minutes, 5 minutes after, however you want to work it. But I think that, that you need to use something. I really do. Another technology type thing that I really like to use when I really need to get focused is music. I use focus music, binaural Hope I'm saying that right. Binaural beats. That's my favorite one. I heard of another one that somebody talked about. I tried it. I wasn't that into it, but try different ones. Google it. What do you like? I like the binaural beats. I cannot listen to music that has words in it because I will get distracted and start listening to the words or singing along or God knows what. So mine has to have no words and whatever. I like binaural beats. So that really helps me. I wear headphones. That helps me stay less distracted. Even when I don't put music on my headphones, I wear them almost all day long anyway. And the reason is because it just helps me feel like in my bubble and keeps me a little bit more focused. And I need as much help as I can get, I promise you. So minimizing distractions. What else can distract you? So your phone. I'm not one of those people who lets my phone distract me because half the time I don't even know where it is. However, I am on my computer all day long. So do I have like things coming up that distract me? Yes. Does my own brain distract me, right? Can I get caught on running on tangents or picking up something else to do? That type of stuff. Your environment, your desk. How much can you clean off your desk so that there's nothing around to distract you? My sister-in-law, she had her office. It was like next to the kitchen and the dining room, but there were no doors. And so anybody that was walking by would like talk to her. I'm like, you're going to have to put doors up. You're going to have to put, a chair with a sign that says I'm working or something, because other people can come in and distract you. And if you are in an office, right, if you're in cubicles, you're going to have to train the people around you to not distract you during certain times. Maybe if they see you with headphones on, they don't walk in. Maybe you have certain times, if you're the leader or the boss, maybe you have certain times that people can come in and out. And maybe you tell them, listen, if it's an emergency and I have my headphones on, I'll absolutely come in if you want to have an open door policy. But, then you're going to have to train them what an emergency is, that type of thing. So just minimize the distractions, whether it's at home with your family, whether it's your desk, yourself. You can put the focus blockers on, however you can do it, but minimize those distractions. The other thing is, if you are following this and you're not doing the first two steps, it's a way to minimize distractions because, again, if I have content written down in my time block, there are 1,001 things that I can now distract myself doing. I can learn how to do something new. I can, plan again. I can brainstorm again. How many of you find yourself brainstorming again? I plan on the plan. I do that a lot. I don't know why. It's fun. I can chat GPT for hours. I love chat GPTing, right? But is that helping me move forward with my content? Probably not. I probably already got it planned 16 different ways. I probably already brainstormed, a million times. So that type of thing. Organization, getting as organized as possible, that minimizes distractions. If you can't find things, if you open up 101 tabs, that is distracting because it takes you 20 minutes to find something. That is distracting. So tell me down below, what is your favorite one that you use? Which one that I just said, you're like, ooh, I need to try that. Tell me down below. Which one are you going to try? Which one do you already use that you love? Or what's something you need to do? All right, so that's minimizing distractions. The next one is evaluating and adjusting. I'm going to go over something before we finish, but let me just finish. So time, right? T-I-M-E, evaluating and adjusting. Obviously, super, super duper important. You want to figure out how much time did you actually spend on it? How much time did you allocate and how much time did you actually spend on it? You want to do this over and over and over and over until you have it down to a science. And then maybe this particular thing you have down to a science, but these you don't. You want to keep working on that as much as humanly possible. I have some VAs that I'm working with right now, and I need them to do this And I'm kind of one of those people that I don't want them to feel like I'm on top of them every minute of every day, but I need them to track their minutes and their time. Not necessarily because I want to be on top of them every minute of every day, but I need to figure out how much time it's taken them to do that. So number one, I know how much time they need to do other things, or how much time they have to do other things. But also when I have a project or something, I need to know where that allocation needs to go. So there's different reasons you want to do it, but even in your own business, I talked about really understanding how much time it takes you to do things. You know, if I say I'm going to spend an hour planning something and I know that it takes me 2 or 3, then that's crazy, right? I've already totally messed up my schedule. Unless I put a timer on and I only let myself do that hour, and then I plow through, keep moving forward, or somehow do it like that. So I do that sometimes. I do limit myself because I can get going. But you want to evaluate and you want to adjust. You want to know, okay, so I've given myself an hour to do this. It's taken me 2 hours to do it the last 3 times. You either have to figure out how to do it in less time, which if you've done it for the last 3 times, maybe you just need to say it takes me 2 hours to do this and move forward, because it's messing up your schedule, right? If it's really important that you minimize that, then you focus on that the next time. Give yourself 2 hours, on your schedule, tell yourself you're going to do it in less time, and start timing it and make yourself move on. And then you have white time, or you have, pull from the excess things if you can do it, because you need to train yourself and it takes time. All right. So do some audits, figure out where your time is going. Another thing, I don't know if you've ever seen a list of, time in the day. You've got 24 hours in a day. If you go in 8-hour chunks, right? 8 times 3 is 24. So if you go in 8-hour chunks, 8 times 3 is 24. That means you have 8 hours for sleeping, 8 hours for working, and 8 hours for everything else. So you have 8 hours for everything else. That's if you literally sleep 8 hours, which I know a lot of you do not. I'm pushing for 7 right now, but still, I should be doing 9, but I'm pushing for 7 because I get excited and I sleep less. It's not healthy and I want to sleep more. So let's just say you sleep 8 hours and you have 8 extra hours. Now let's say you take out 3 hours for eating, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or, maybe you take an hour for dinner, an hour for lunch, and then, 2 30-minute breaks, whatever. That's 3 hours, 24 to 60, maybe 24 to 60 for snacks or whatever. That's 3 hours. I mean, you still have 5 extra hours of miscellaneous time, right? Let's say you work 10 hours. Now we'll put 2 hours on there. So you can see how you can play with it. But then you want to look, okay, let's say I'm working 8 hours. Am I getting 8 hours worth of work done? Or I have 8 hours planned, I'm working 10 hours and I'm not getting the 8 hours done. Does that happen? So where are those 2 hours going? That type of thing. You need to really, really, really spend some time doing this. How many of you have already done this, and how many of you are going to do it? How many of you have done it and are doing it again? Because I guarantee you need to redo this all the time. We all get a little off, right? All right. I'd love to hear from you about what your favorite time strategy is, which app you use the most, any of the things that you heard today. Tell me your favorites on on which ones you're actually using, and tell me, out of everything that I said, what one thing are you going to start implementing? What one thing are you going to start implementing? All right, I wanted to share one last thing before we hang up. Oh, we're good. We are so good on time today. I love it. All right, I wanted to share one last thing that I have a couple of different time schedulers that I do. I have one online that's very it's very simplistic. Okay, so just so you know, I've got like a task prioritization tool that I use with my clients. It's called Act Time Management. And it goes through, again, all of those different ones. It helps you strategize and get all of those out. I have that. But then I have like two different like planners that I use. One is the nitty gritty. It's the online one, and it's just the stuff. But then I have one that I print out that I love, and I want to talk about that one today. Just for a quick second. But a couple of the things that I think we need to do in our day is, number one, start from the night before, right? Your day should start the night before, or when you close out work, if you don't want to do it at night, the end of the day before, right? End of the work day before. You should, at that time, go over your day and plan your tomorrow. At the end of, it can be the real day or the work day. Go over what happened that day and plan tomorrow. So that's one of the things that I would say you want to do. Now, whether you do this the night before or that day, you want to know what your top 3 things are that you need to get done. What are your top 3 goals? And I don't want you to have top 5 or top 8 or top 3. That's it. And then I want you to ask yourself, what is the one thing that if I got done today would make today successful? What is the one thing that if I did today? It could be a phone call that takes 10 minutes. It might be that, right? What's the one thing that if I get done today would make today successful? And I want you to judge, give yourself that gold star or not based on that one thing. Based on that one thing. How many of you can do this? It's hard. But if we can actually prioritize our top 3 items and then say, hey, my day will be successful when I do this. We can, number one, give ourselves kudos, which we do not do at the end of the day, because we end every day feeling like we haven't gotten enough done. Most of us, right? So figure out what that one thing is that would make today successful. And that one thing I want it to be work related. You can do another one for personal or whatever, but for your work related one, have it be work related, and it needs to be something that moves the needle forward. Should be, right? All right. So that's one of the things, your 3 goals for the day. What's one thing that would make today successful? All right. Then at the end of the day, again, nighttime or end of the workday, ask yourself, what one thing that I do fantastic today? What one thing that I do fantastic? Like, where did you really crush it? Did you crush your, the one thing? Did you crush the top 3 things? Did you have a conversation and it went really, really well? Did you do a close? Did you create a video that rocked? What one thing did you do fantastic today? Write that one down. What one thing did you do fantastic today? And you can't see it, but I've got a little planner that I use. And what's one thing to improve tomorrow? What's one thing to improve tomorrow? So maybe you didn't get all the phone calls in today, but you're going to do it tomorrow, right? What's one thing you can improve? Maybe you had your plan written out and forgot to look at it all day. Just saying. What's one thing that you can improve tomorrow? Remember, I love new beginnings. So every single day is a whole new start for you. Don't beat yourself up 2 days in a row. Just new day, new day, new day. Start fresh. So what's one thing you can improve? Right? So one thing you did fantastic and one thing that you can improve. Notice there's nowhere in there that said, where did you mess up? Why are you terrible? How can you beat yourself up? What can you beat yourself up over? No. What's one thing you can improve the next day? All right. Another one is one story. So what's one story about today? So for those of you, remember, this is time management for content creators. if you get in the habit of doing this every single day, you will never lack for stories to add to your content. I heard about this a long time ago, and I don't remember where it comes from, but you could either write it in a little journal, like I have a little journal thing here, or you could write in Excel, which would be even more powerful because then you can add keywords and stuff like that. Or you could do both, transfer at the end of the day, end of the week, end of the month, however you want to do it. But what I would say is every single day, think of something that happened today that you can make a story out of. And again, it can be, something about waking up late. It could be something about, the guy you met standing in line at the bank. It doesn't matter what the story is. It doesn't have to be based on your clients, your work, anything. Any story that happened today in life, and it doesn't have to be, wow, this story that's so wow. No, it can be mundane, like the guy you met at the grocery store. Because everybody's always like, oh my God, my life is so boring. I do the same thing every day. We all do the same thing every day. We all have boring lives, right? So the key to this is to find one of those stories that happened every day and then try to align it to what you do. Try to align it to what you do. So for example, let me think of something that happened. This is one of those on the fly that you should have planned for, right? So let me think of one of those that happened today for me. Okay. So my hand is killing me. And I didn't want to do a maximum amount of typing. So, okay, so I woke up today, my hand was killing me. Yesterday, my hand was hurting. So normally I do my slides last minute because I'm terrible. So normally I do them the day before or the morning of. And I didn't do them because number one, it was short. Number two, I had some other ideas of what I wanted to go through and my hand was killing me. So I didn't feel like typing. So what did I do? I figured out how I could make this still a great presentation. Let me know if you think it was. How I could make this still a great presentation without using those slides. And instead of beating myself up over not creating the slides, I wanted to pump myself up about it. So I reminded myself how many of my clients tell me, Erica, you are so much more animated. You're off the cuff when you don't have the slides. I love your shows a lot more when you don't use the slides. So I reminded myself of that to boost me up before I got on to do my presentation without my slides. So was I prepared? Yes, I had all of my stuff in order. I had all of my material. I actually had a bunch of extra material that I wanted to add into it, like my ACT system that I kind of went through with you, like the daily planner that I'm talking about right now. So I had a lot of other stuff that I couldn't really like shove into it anyway. So it worked out. So how can you use this in your life? It's resilience, right? It is resourcefulness. We all need to be resourceful. Crap happens. Maybe you wake up one day and you didn't have time to do your slides, or in my case, didn't feel like it. I just didn't feel like it because my hand was hurting. So whatever the case is, how can you be resourceful, make it work? Don't let obstacles get in your way, show up anyway. You see that? So you can bring anything that happens into what you're doing, and it doesn't have to be about your work. I mean, mine was how my hand hurt. It has nothing to do with anything, right? All right. So write your stories down. Think of some keywords or some parts of your business. Like with that story, I might have written down resourcefulness, how to get resourceful, how to positivity, maybe how to bump yourself up anyway. Show up happy and convince yourself that you rock anyway, right? That type of thing. All right. So write your story down and write some key words or something that would work for you in your business or what you do with it. How many of you already do this? Probably nobody. I don't even do it every day, but I do try to do it because it is cool to be able to have those stories. Like if you're If you have a signature talk, you've got some stories that go in there. If you are doing reels, and especially if you're doing them on the fly every single day, you need stories to help you get through those, right? All right, and then it ends with ready to rock schedule for tomorrow. So make sure you have that schedule. Make sure you know what you did today and what you didn't do today so that you can get on it for tomorrow. Maybe you realize you don't, need to do this one that you thought you were going to have to do tomorrow. Maybe you realize you don't have to do that anymore. Maybe you realize you can outsource it. Whatever, things come up. However you want to do it, but do it end of today for tomorrow. All right, that's it for today. Thank you all so much for joining me. Since I don't have my slides, I don't have my reminders of what's up. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. The one thing I did not plan for. Shoot, sorry. The one thing I did not plan for, I totally forgot about my end slide. So give me 2 seconds. See if I have this. Let's see what I have written down. I feel like I have October 16th. Okay, October 16th. We've got empty calendar fully booked. Really want to see you guys there. Supercharge content and convert clients. If you missed the last one, I want to see you there. And I have a topic for next week's Elevate and Engage. It's not in front of me. I thought. In 2 seconds. If I can't find it, I will move on. Here it is. Ooh, another favorite. So time management is one of my favorite, but personal branding is also. So next week is personal branding strategies for business growth. How you can start growing your business with your personal brand. All right. Love to see you guys there. If you want to go to the, Elevate and Engage next week, make sure that you go to elevateandengage.com. If you don't remember it, just EE me, drop EE and drop creators if you want the checklist for creators. And if you want anything else that I talked about, just DM me. I know I talked about a bunch of stuff that I have. So if you want the checklist, that's the newest thing. If you want the checklist for content creation for creators, drop creators down below. And what was the last thing? Oh, and if you want to go to empty calendar to fully booked, drop booked below and I will send you an invite to that. All right. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. See you all on the next one. Ciao, ciao.